Here's your host, Giuseppe Grammatico, the franchise guide.
So you guys were on Shark Tank recently, and I remember watching that. Local guys, super excited to hear that, and struck a deal with Mark Cuban. And part of that, I remember him saying was, I was not sure if I was in, or maybe he was out, but then he went back in after trying. It's like my neck feels much better. So I guess talk to us. That to me,
Sure.
that's super exciting. I've never missed an episode since day one. Talk to us about that whole process of how long were you in business before getting on Shark Tank, and how's that process been? Given that you've kind of gone through this firsthand, working with both on the show and then working with Mark Cuban.
So you see a big smile on my face when you start to talk about Shark Tank. It was such a nerve-wracking experience, Giuseppe, but it was also so rewarding. I mean, it's the brass ring for an entrepreneur or a startup founder in this country is to get on Shark Tank,
Mhm.
right? So when we were approached by one of the producers, they had seen some content that I made on TikTok. I was actually suggesting a different product to a runner that I had become friends with. Very accomplished ultra marathon runner out in California. He was having issues with something, and I said, you should try this product. And it wasn't my product. This producer from the show saw that,
Mhm.
and it kind of piqued his curiosity to say, well, why is this founder encouraging a runner to use something that's a competitor? And
Right.
it was just the right fit, and it was the right answer for the runner. So he reached out, he dug a little deeper into the content and into us and into me, and he liked what he saw. He liked my personality. So he sent me an email, and I thought it was a scam. Like, this day and age, you get
Yeah.
an email that sounds too good to be true, and immediately you think,
Mhm.
oh my God, am I going to, click on this and everything's going to go haywire? So I called my son down, who's 19, and ran it through the millennial filter. I said, does this
Right.
look real to you? And he said,
Is it
I think
fishing?
so. Let's Google the name. So we Googled the name. Sure enough, he's the executive producer. Calls me a couple minutes later. We chatted on the phone for a good hour. We had a couple things in common. We both played rugby at the collegiate level. So we just kind of hit it off. Next thing you know, there's a lot that goes into Shark Tank, obviously, as you could imagine, being a fan of the show. We rehearsed and we wrote and we refined scripts. And that 90-second pitch that you see when you go through the doors, that's the only part that's scripted. So you hit your mark, you do your 90-second pitch. Hopefully you get through it without any flubs, because there's no stopping the cameras once they start rolling. So we made it through that 90-second pitch. The lights were bright. We're standing on that rug that you've seen it a million
Mhm.
times. And I'm scanning across and I see Robert Herjavec, Lori, Barbara, Mr. Wonderful, and Mark Cuban. And I just said to myself, don't put too much pressure on this moment, right? Which seems like a big ask because you're in front of the cameras, you're in Los Angeles, you made it to the mountaintop. So I just wanted to have a conversation. I wanted to stay calm, show them what we were all about, explain the products.
Right.
Lori had a reason why. She loved the product. She'd be a customer, but it just wasn't for her. It was more of just one product, not a full company. And since then we've established a few more products in our line. Robert loved it as an athlete himself. He said, I love it. It feels great, but I'm out. So I'm starting to lose hope here, Giuseppe. I'm starting to think I flew all this way across the country, watching all these little pockets of cities and towns, thinking how we can help each one of these people. And then that's what I was thinking as I'm looking out the window of the plane. We get there, we land, we're shooting the show, and all these sharks are dropping one by one.
Right.
Kevin, I'm out. Who's left? Barbara. She had some great explanation why she was out. She liked us. We got along great, but she was out. So now I look over at Mark and he's doing this. Like, I think you saw this part. He's rubbing his neck with the tool.
Mhm.
He wasn't out at all. But I thought, of course, he's going to go out too. We're going to have to slink backstage through the doors and we're going to be complete failures. But he keeps scraping his neck for a few more seconds. And I thought to myself, I think we might have a chance here. And that's when he stopped and he said, my neck hasn't felt this good in months. And that's why I'm going to give you a deal. And I could feel Dan and I both exhaled. That's when I think we both knew, okay, life may change at this point. This might
Yeah.
be that pivot in our life as small business owners, as startup founders, that, we've got a chance here to make it out of that
Mhm.
first couple of years where most small businesses fail. So now, fast forward, we've got Mark Cuban. After some due diligence and some business
Right.
stuff that we took care of behind the scenes, I think it's common knowledge that not all deals close. We were very happy and fortunate that our deal closed. My partner, Dan, negotiated with Mark, trying to get him a little lower with the number. And I'm thinking, I don't care what the number is.
Mhm.
I'll give Mark whatever he wants. If he wants to
Right.
become part of this passion project that we've started and nurtured for the last 4 years, we've got an opportunity to have a billionaire businessman, a mogul, an icon to join us. I said, I whispered in Dan's ear, let's pretend like we're negotiating, but we're going to take the deal. And he's like, yeah, heck yeah. So we said, Mark, you got a deal. It was a surreal moment. He got up. He's a tall guy. He's 6 foot. He's got to be 6'3", 6'4". Came over, hugged, shook hands. You've probably seen it on a rerun of the show. It was an amazing feeling.
That's awesome. That is life-changing. And you hear being on the show, it's not, it's a quick episode, but you're there for a while. There's prep and not all the deals actually happen. So I don't know what you can share, but how has it been? So now that, the due diligence, everything has been finalized, and how has it been to work with Mark Cuban? And is he joining us today? Because he's more than glad.
He's sitting right here next to me. No. Yeah. Listen, he's a part of what we're doing, He's not some aloof consultant off in the distance where he's unreachable or every time I email Mark, he gets back to me usually sooner than I would expect. He's just like you or I. If you emailed me at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday, I would try to get back to you as quick as possible because that's the way I want to be treated. I try to live with that golden rule. I could tell we're raised in the same kind of way with a strong focus on family. Mark's the same kind of guy. He's a billionaire, but he's just a normal guy. He's a family guy. He's a father, a husband. And you don't become a billionaire accidentally. He follows up. He's diligent with the advice that he gives us. We're not even part of his company for a year yet. Our episode aired in April, and that's when everything was timed. The deal closed. So we've been part of the Mark Cuban companies for almost a year. In April, it'll be a year. So we see the next couple of years, our relationship growing and the trust between his staff and us grows naturally as the longer we work together. So I see a lot of exciting things in the future. I thought it was going to be a rocket ship. You get on Shark Tank, you think, wow, I hit the lottery, or this is a rocket ship. All I got to do is hold on and go for the ride. It's not like that. It's a grind. Every day is a grind. Every day you got to hustle to spread the word about your product, to grow your brand, to educate in our case, because we're doing something new. It's not like a bottle of water that you walk by in the store and you go, oh, that's water. I drink it. I know how to use it. Some people don't understand what soft tissue mobilization is. Some people don't understand how easy it is to recover, in the shower or at the field or in the gym with our products. So part of the fun challenge for us is giving that education, especially there's some cynical people out there, Giuseppe, that just say, oh, that can't possibly work. And sometimes when I run across somebody like that on Facebook, a lot of it happens to be on Facebook for some reason, I'll get a comment like, well, that's just stupid. Go ahead, do it with any soap. I guarantee it's going to feel great. When it gets slippery and soft and mushy and you can't hang it up on the holder because it's just a bar of soap, then come back to us and we'll talk about how ours is a little different. But I always encourage people, take a brand new bar of soap and scrape whatever sore. You're going to feel an immediate difference. And like we talked about before, that's how it kind of started with us.
There's always going to be the haters online, and that's just part of anybody. You put your name out there, your face out there, especially on social, kind of is what it is. So
you're asking for it, but you can embrace it.
What happened when David and Sorsoap actually faced the sharks? Stay tuned to hear about the nerve-wracking experience and the deal that changed everything.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to learn how to make the transition from corporate to owning your franchise, join Giuseppe on the next episode. You can also follow on all social media platforms and achieve financial and time freedom today.